Hello everybody, and welcome to this talk. I was going to say workshop, but unfortunately time is very limited and I'm unable to run a workshop, and we also will not be able to have a formal question and answer session. However, any questions you've got, please put them in the chat. If we don't have a chance to answer them today, then I will get back to you if you put an email address as well. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself, Miss Emily Daly, and I am the policy development manager for the new ILEP program, International Learning Exchange Partnership for schools and youth. So I've got the wonderful job of deciding or formulating what the new program for schools and youth is going to look like, and I will be very instigative in getting that going. Now then, I'm hoping that we have a mixture of people in this chat today, or people who have been very with the Erasmus Plus program and people who have not, because of course we want as many people to be part of this new exciting initiative by the Welsh Government as possible. I'm going to go through, I've got a bit of a presentation to show you, and I'm going to go through this and explain to you where we are at the moment with this policy. It's still in the writing process, and I'm also going to put into the chat at some point links to a Welsh and of questionnaires that you are going to be able to give us some feedback on. I've had a question. Am I having technical issues? No. Can I ask if everybody can hear me? I don't think I'm having any technical issues from my side. Emily, believe I can hear you.
I think we can hear you, lovely, but my camera is not cooperating with me, so I may only be joining by audio if we can't fix it in the meantime. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Eevi. But can everybody see me? Can you see me? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think I'm good to go. For anybody who might have just joined, I can see the numbers going up. As I said, my name is Emily Daly, and I'm the Policy Development Manager for Schools and Youth for this new International Learning Exchange Programme. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to go through with you where we are now. So as I said, this is the International Learning Exchange Programme for schools and youth. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to ask Eevi to come in when we come to the governance structure to talk you through that a little bit. Right, let's see what. Right, so what is the purpose of this award? I'm not going to read through all the slides. I shall leave you to do that. But the main purpose is to get inward and outward mobility of young people. We want to get as many young people going out to visit partners, but we also want to get partners to come in to our country. So if you've been involved in Erasmus Plus in the past, you will know that that is large as that has been for Europe. There has been a facility to include countries outside of programme countries, but largely Europe. European ILEP has a much wider reach, and we are hoping to get as many young people as we can to get engaged now in this. I'm also very aware that within youth, you may feel that there have been some barriers, that you may have had difficulty accessing Erasmus Plus in the past, and I want to try and assure you that it is my goal to make this as accessible as I possibly can. Right, so that's in line with government targets. You'll see, very importantly, this is for young people, wherever they're from, not just students, but young people. Reciprocal exchanges. You may have seen the Turing scheme came out as a replacement for Erasmus+. And thankfully, the Welsh Government decided that that was not good enough. It allowed for outward mobility only, and of course didn't include youth organisations at all. So the Welsh Government felt, no, this is not good enough. We want not only youth to be involved, but we want the exchange to be reciprocal. Now, it won't be possible for as many young people from abroad to come into this country. However, we want as many young people from this country to go and visit partners. And as this slide shows, additional flexibility. Some of the issues with youth programs in the past, the visits have been too long. Some people haven't felt comfortable to be able to go out for so long, and also not such an emphasis on virtual mobility for the underrepresented groups. So we want as many young people from all those groups to be involved as possible, and there will be a focus on shorter exchanges, flexible times, blended mobility, virtual mobility only. But at the moment, as I go through this next half hour, I hope I will impress upon you, we want the opportunities to be as flexible as possible, and as many ideas from you going forward as we can gather to try and make this exactly what you want, what you're looking for. Capacity building will be very important. We want to support organisations to develop capacity and to be able to participate fully. Obviously, this will include international research partnerships, which are more likely to be higher education, but we do want as wide a range of participation as we possibly can. So organisations such as yours may want to develop their capacity in order to deliver, and we are interested in your ideas and your thoughts on how we can make that happen. And of course, we will align closely within the Welsh Government's international strategy. Eevi, could I ask you if you would just step in at this stage and go through this slide with everybody who's listening? I'm wondering whether I'm having difficulty getting Eevi in. Perhaps that's because I'm sharing my screen, so I'm going to stop sharing a minute. I'm going to go back. Eevi, are you still there? Okay, so Eevi's not there at the moment. Got a few issues, so we'll come back to the governance of it in a moment. That's all right. Let me go. Sorry, I'm jumping my screen a minute. Apologies, stick with me. There we are. Yeah, we'll come back to that one in a moment. Right. So where are we at the moment? Okay. At the moment, we are going to go through, we are going through a consultation period. We are asking you and people like you to support us in finding out what strategic direction, design, implementation route we are going to take. Okay. So we have designed a questionnaire. I'm going to put that in the chat in a minute. All right, I'll do that in a second. The deadline is 28th of October, and we are asking as many people to complete this as possible. Now, it doesn't matter whether you've never been involved in international programs before. We want to hear from you. If you have been involved in international programs before, we want to hear from you as well. At the moment, everything is up for grabs. At the moment, we're going to try and be as creative as possible. So we want you to think outside the box. If you had your choice, what would you like to see? What would you like in this program? Can't promise we'll do everything. We won't be able to do everything. And the time frame at the moment is such, it's very, very tight. And it may not be exactly what we want by the time it's released in the new year, but we'll get in what we can. And my message to everybody at the moment is we're going to do our best. We're going to do our best this time round. There will probably be some tweaking in time for year 2, but I can assure you there will be something for you to apply for in February. And we will do everything we can to get as many of your ideas and thoughts into those opportunities as possible. But we need to hear from you. Now, I also have arranged before the end of the deadline a virtual roundtable. There will be another one after, but let's see who volunteers to be part of that. If you feel you would like to be part of the roundtable, we'll have a look at the results that have come in so far at that point. I think we'll have a pretty good idea of where things are going, have a chat about them, wait to the final date, and then we'll get together again afterwards to say, okay, well, of the discussions we had before, this is where we are now. Now, what the consultation questions are asking is just have a little look at what's there so far, what things have been done before in the past, what was done in Erasmus Plus, what could we do better, what would you like to see? We're going to try and align as close as we can to Erasmus Plus for lots of reasons. One of those is everybody's familiar with it. Your partners abroad are familiar with those structures as well, so that will help. But there may be things that you always felt were not there, that you would like to have seen more of, or things that weren't included at all, have never been included, and you'd like to see some of those new ideas coming through, or things, importantly as well, that you didn't like at all, and things that you would prefer if we tried to avoid as much as possible. So we really are looking for your creativity, and as I said to somebody fairly recently, blue sky thinking. What could you come up with? What would you love to see? And we really are hoping that we're going to get as many ideas from this audience as possible. And please speak to your colleagues, and after I put the links in the chat and you're able to fill those in, please share those links widely so that we can get as many ideas as we can. Really, at the moment, nothing's off the table. We have some restrictions. One of those will be time. Of course, time is against us at the moment, and we need to move really quickly. But because we're going, we're planning to go aligned to as much to Erasmus Plus as we can, for all the reasons that I gave earlier. We're hoping that we should be able to get this through quite quickly. Eevi, are you in?
Indeed, finally. Apologies for that. Technical issues with my video, so not that you really needed to see me.
No, that's right. Thank you very much. Can you see the screen, Eevi?
I can. So if you want to go back a few slides, yeah. And I appreciate this is really small text, so apologies to everyone with us here today. But hopefully, if I talk through it, it will sort of make some sense. So this is the dry bit. Emily has given the interesting bit in terms of all the opportunities that are now available, through the program as it develops. But just in case some of you are wondering, it's like, well, where does this all sit? And who's responsible for what and so forth. We thought it might be nice to explain a little bit about the structure. So the ILEP funding, which Emily outlined earlier, is a grant award from Welsh Government, originally made to Cardiff University, but with a very clear understanding that Cardiff University will set up a independent legal entity, a separate legal entity, to then manage this award through, which is what the university has done. So in the summer, we established a subsidiary company for the university, snappily called the International Learning Exchange Program Limited, and that company will now be then getting a renewed version of the original grant from Welsh Government. So it will sit within that company. The company will then become effectively the program executive for ILEP. It will have its own board of directors, but the ILEP program executive will have its kind of in a standalone team, and we have started recruiting key staff into that ILEP limited program executive team already. The recruitment for the executive director is ongoing in the sense that we've shortlisted and will be interviewing early November. But we have very recently already completed a recruitment round for some of the key positions in the management team for that. So program managers for three program managers for specific sectors who will, when the program hits the sort of the delivery phase, will really become the key contacts for the sectors in terms of what the program does, how it operates, the calls that it will launch, as well as then running the sort of the kind of the management of those awards but as well as also doing engagement and promotion, bearing in mind that we are in a really, really fortunate position to already have a funding commitment from the Welsh Government for 4 years of mobilities. So we're not having to kind of live year on year, but we can be in this for the medium term haul and hopefully the long haul kind of eventually as well. So this will be a program that will remain responsive to its sectors and will continue to improve, we hope, so that certainly already in the third and the fourth year we will have a near perfect program, but we will have some work to do on that along the way. But I think that's what I would really encourage you to think about, is that yes, there will be a flurry of activity in the first quarter of next year when the first call for applications will be coming out, but that's not the end of the journey. That's just the beginning of it, really. And there will be opportunities to continue to engage and influence the shape of the program and the opportunities that it should offer, so that it really becomes a fit for purpose, excellent program for Wales and the specific needs that its different sectors have. And in terms of then the sort of the oversight, Helen has helpfully put in the chat already, is that please be aware, Cynwys is represented on the advisory board, which sort of is that purple box there on the right hand top. That advisory board has broad representation across the sectors, and it is really there to provide advice and oversight of the program, both now at its development phase already, but then in its delivery phase as well. So it's brilliant that you have a representative on the board. You have a link to that board, and vice versa. We are able to have a strong sector organization, helping us disseminate and get the information out, not just today, but hopefully many times in the future as well, and get a good communication link going. The Welsh Government there in the red box, it's the award of funding, but it is worth also noting that Welsh Government similarly has a member on the advisory board. So they kind of obviously interacting directly with the company set up for the delivery of the program, but also then in that more of an advice and oversight role through the advisory board. I think that's probably enough about this, and in case there are any kind of questions coming through specifically.
Thank you, Eevi. Thank you very much indeed. So that's how ILEP will be structured. As I say, we're in the consultation phase at the moment. So what do we expect? What do we expect from this? Well, as I say, the consultation response will be coming in. We'll be having some roundtable meetings. We'll be having other meetings. But I'm also very accessible, and my email address will be at the end here. And please open a dialogue with me, so that when we get the program strategy released in December, as it says there in 21, and then applications in February, that you feel you are part of this story. It's very important that you are part of it. And as Eevi just said, it will be an ongoing process. So that dialogue from this moment on should be open. And I want you to feel that you can contact me if you have questions. And you just want to chat. I mean, I'm happy to chat as well. So what we'll be looking for. So international mobility for schools and youth organisations. So some of you will have partners abroad, some of you won't yet, and part of that partner finding will be part of the job of ILEP, is to find you partners if you haven't already got them. We want your help as much as possible to raise awareness of the ILEP programme, get as many young people interested. When it says enhanced sector readiness, that's absolutely what we want. You guys to feel this is something you can engage with, and that young people that you work with also feel that they can engage with this. So as much as possible, we want you to help us to make that happen, to make it accessible, to give it that feeling. This is for young people. It's for young people, it's for staff as well, of course. So not only will young people have the opportunity to go abroad and to learn new experiences and to engage in exchange, it will be open for all staff, volunteers too. So an opportunity to engage in professional development is equally as important as exchange for young people. And again, I would like everybody in your teams, and you, of course, to feel that this is for you, and that you've been able to be part of this journey, part of the forming of this program, part of the way in which it's written, part of the way in which it's designed. What will happen? We don't know yet. We're in the process of working it out. We're doing everything we can to get this out as quickly as we can. And apologies to the Welsh speakers amongst you who had to wait a little bit for the translation. I'm a learner. I'm a Welsh learner, and I can assure you any Welsh translation that I even attempted would not have been acceptable by anybody's standards, regretfully. Welsh born, but unfortunately of that period of time where it wasn't considered to be important. So sadly, I'm not a Welsh speaker. So again, apologies for those of you who had to wait for the Welsh version. It is now available, and I will put it in the chat before we finish. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. Those are my contact details there. So if you want to email me after this, then please do. I think what's really important at the moment is that I open up the links, and I put those two links as promised into the chat. So let me just do that.
Helen's already helpfully done those, so she's
anyway. Sorry, too late. I'd done that before.
No, perfect.
So before I answer. Were there any questions in there already? Don't think there were, so that's good. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask me at the moment? I'll carry on chatting while if anybody has any. We've got about 5 minutes. One of the things that, okay, email me. Here's my email. I should put it in. I should put it in now. Yeah, that's it. And also, if you want to ask me any questions about this afterwards, I'm really, really interested to talk to as many people as possible. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, it is exciting. I'm excited. And thank you for that comment, David, because the one thing that I was going to say before we finish is I want to reassure everybody here. I am going to do everything I can to make sure that you guys feel as included this time round as possible. I know Erasmus Plus was good, but it was tricky in lots of ways. And for the UK government to decide that youth shouldn't be in Turing, I think was a shock to everyone. And I think if nothing else comes from this presentation, I hope that you have the reassurance that I am going to do what I can to get you as involved as I possibly can. Yeah, regular updates will be coming through organisations such as Chwefror and those people who email me, I will send it out, and please share everything you can with all your colleagues. What's really important is that all the materials that go out from us going forward give the feeling that this is intended for all young people. So we want to try and move away, possible, from that feeling that it might be, and I know there is feeling out there, this might be a higher education programme in disguise. That absolutely is not the case. This is for everyone. I was heavily involved in schools before. My background, I should have probably said that in the beginning, was very involved in supporting schools in all their international links. So I had a lot to do with young people and some youth. So I'd had a way into youth, and certainly from my experience, listening to when I went to lots of Erasmus Plus meetings, the impression I had from a lot of people within youth is how difficult it was to access the funding, how difficult it was to find appropriate or programs that people could be interested in, particularly if they weren't part of a large youth organisation. The small youth organisations really found it quite tricky to get a way in. We want to address that, and we want to address that balance, and we want to make this a programme for absolutely everyone. So please, loads and loads of blue sky thinking, loads and loads of ideas, please. Let's make this as youth orientated, as young people orientated as we possibly can, and get as many young people involved. And if you feel at any point, actually, this isn't going the way we'd hope, by all means, let's open that dialogue. Let's have a chat.
Well, Emily, yes. There's quite a few questions about the date of the roundtable, and I guess related to that, by email to you that people could express their interest. So 26th of October.
It is the 26th of October would be the first one, just before the end, and at the end of the consultation on get schools and youth together. What's encouraged me with this particular programme is they've put schools and youth in the same programme. I think that's so exciting. So there's no longer that gap between, or that perceived gap between somebody who's of school age and somebody who's also of school age, but in a youth programme. Let's get them all together. Let's get them all talking. Whoever you are, no matter how old you are, you've been to school. So there is a link. So let's get all those young people together. Right, 26th of October is that. I will get as many people involved from this chat as possible. Let's have a really, really big group. I think we're probably out of time, aren't we? I think I'm just about out of time.
There's just one more question about, what date is the roundtable? I think we've covered that, 26th of October. It may not end up being the only opportunity, I reckon, Emily, because I have a feeling that you might have quite a lot of take up for that event. And I guess, you will then look to, arrange either kind of, follow-on meetings or slightly sort of, smaller groups, depending on what the demographics look like. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing, I really want to get as many people from across the country as possible. So please spread this information widely. And I will answer your emails as soon as I possibly can. But 26th of October, I'll also give you the time for that. Let me just open my diary a second. I should be able to tell you what time it is, so that you can put yourself a diary marker. I'll send one to you though. If you'd like to be part of it, I'll send it anyway. It will be at 3:15 in the afternoon. So put that as a little reminder, and then when I've got all your emails, I'll do that. So please make sure that your email address is there, and anybody else that you think might like to be involved. We're definitely out of time now, as people are going to be knocking my door telling me to leave. So thank you all very, very much. Thank you very much for coming, and I will look forward to speaking to some more of your colleagues in about 20 minutes. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.